Now everything. We have a lot of professors, we have a lot of policies, we have a lot of so many things, but there's always some people who are special, and they add life to wherever they go. And when I was planning for the forum, I said, to give it life, we need Professor Tariq Aldowaisan with us. Without him, it can't be the same. So, Professor Tariq, thank you very much for accepting our invitation for the second time. I still remember how you explained for us the standard deviation last time. So, Professor Tariq holds a PhD in industrial engineering from Arizona State University. He worked as a professor at Kuwait University from 1999 until 2017, and I guess he lived all the challenges that we do. Currently, he's the general manager and the founder of Global Lead Consultants, GLC, since 2005. Professor Tariq, I know many of our audience are looking up to hear from you. Floor is yours, dear.
Thank you, Rola. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Professor Isam. I'm really honored and happy to be in this very exciting forum. I listened to the talk of Professor Isam. I listened also to my friend Dr. Khalid, and I was hoping that he would be with us because he's going to hear a different story, but he will hear it probably from some other people. So let's see what I'm going to talk about today. Can you see the presentation? Hello?
Yes, all
Rola?
good. Yes, dear,
okay.
You can.
So, good morning. I'm going to be talking about the quality of higher education in Kuwait. I'm going to be objective, I'm going to be straight, and I'm going to try to be as down to earth as possible. I think the story is too simple to complicate it. So I'm going to try to make it simple. Also, I'm going to try to make sure that I present the root cause of the problem rather than the symptoms of the problems. Because what we have always been hearing too much is the symptoms, but we fail to identify the roots of the problem. So I will try to do that in my presentation. First part, I will be talking about some statistics and numbers, indicators. Thank you, Rola. You've already mentioned some of that, so I'm going to go fast on this. Then I'm going to talk about quality planning in education and give some recommendation. And then I'm going to talk about quality improvement in higher education and give some recommendations. And we'll conclude with that. So I have three parts to my presentation. First part is about numbers. Second part is about quality improvement in higher education. And third part is about second part is quality planning. And third part is quality improvement. I'm not gonna be talking about quality control. I don't think it's fitting here. And you know that to quality, there are three parts: quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. So I'm going to be talking only about two of them, which is quality planning and quality improvement. Now, this table is the Global Competitiveness Report from the World Economic Forum, and it ranks the GCC countries out of 141 countries. As you can see from the table, Kuwait is doing well in terms of pupil to teacher ratio in primary education. It's ranked number 2 in the world, and it's number 1 in GCC. But when you go down, critical thinking in teaching, quality of vocational training, digital skills among workforce, skill set of graduates, we are behind, and we are behind big time. So it's not just behind, we are behind in big time. And when you mentioned, Rola, about standard deviation, I hope the people remember what I talked about to understand what does it mean to be behind big time. If you go to one of the indicators, which I like, it's called Global Talent Competitiveness Index, GTCI 2020, you will find out that Kuwait has a very low percentage of 42.65% in its score. This index is designed where it has two main dimensions, the input and output. And under each dimension, there are indicator categories and then indicators. So under input, there is the enable, attract, grow, retain. And under the output, there is the vocational and technical skills, and there is the global knowledge skills. Now, when you look at the numbers, latest numbers, you will find that our output, when it comes to this indicator, is lower than our input, meaning that we are not being effective in the way we are addressing talent competitiveness. Also, you will see that our scores are generally low. They are in the 50s, 40s, and even in the 20s when it comes to the output, high-level skills, and talent impact. When you go to employability, and that is, I think, the bottom line. So as a university, you can talk a lot, and I like what I think Professor Isan said. At the end of the day, your outcome, your output is going to go out there in the market, and you want to hear the voice of the market. And that is what quality is all about, the voice of the customer. And the customer to universities is not students, as some people might think. It is the people who are going to receive your output. And the main category of people who's going to receive your output are the employers. So let's hear what the employers think about it. When it comes to ease of finding skilled employees, we are ranked 79. Relevance of education system to the economy, which Dr. Khalid talked about, we are ranked at 60. Skills matching with secondary education 101 and with tertiary education 101. So the numbers are not pretty. The numbers are not good. Okay, so let's face reality. We don't have good education in Kuwait, whether it is primary, whether it is secondary, and whether it is tertiary. Now let's talk about quality and education. The first thing when you talk about planning, as anyone knows in quality, the first thing you think about is the need of the customer. In this case, what is the labor market is talking about. So our planning has to be labor market driven. And when it comes to improvement, it has to focus on the key process. And the key process is the student learning process with all the factors and elements surrounding it. But at the end of the day, I want that learning, that delivery process to be effective, to be efficient, to be productive, to be quality, and to be impactful. Okay, so that is the key process. Now, when we look at the planning part first, we have some challenges in Kuwait. Let's look at these challenges. The first challenge, and Dr. Khalid talked about, is our Kuwait market is not growing. Our economy is not growing. GDP, as a matter of fact, has been decreasing. Our GDP is 135 billion, and it's been around that for years. And it even declined from the way it was 10 years ago. So when you talk about a market that is not growing, that's staying the same, and you talk about a system that's producing output at a high rate, what's going to happen? You see, when the market grows, jobs grow. So if your market stays the same and people gets graduated, that's not good. There is a bottleneck there. Your market is your bottleneck. Your market is not growing. The other problem, your market does not have a vision. And I know, some people are going to say, oh, Kuwait has a vision to be blah, blah, blah. That's not really down-to-earth vision. I want a vision of telling me where Kuwait is going to go, and I want that vision to be realistic, and I want to see it on the ground. So if you want to say that I want to focus on downstream, I want to focus on, what do you call it, the oil down the streams, industrial industry related to oil and gas. I want to start to see oil and gas happening, factories, being happening. And if you want to say I'm going to get into tourism, I want to say some features related to tourism. Are we talking about what are the policies? How open are we to the outside? What kind of institutions are we opening to encourage tourism? Are we really being attractive to the people outside? Are we being attractive to the people inside? And if you don't talk tourism, let's talk about Kuwaitis. Where are they spending their money? If we want to talk oil and gas, what's happening to the صناعات اللاحقة اللي هي الصناعات النفطية اللاحقة?
Petrochemicals.
Okay. So what's that?
Chemicals. Petrochemicals.
Chemicals, petroleum industries, really very, very, very limited. So, and if you say banking, our banking is not open to the international banking sectors. So we have a very, very static. We have an economy that is not changing. We have a vision that is not clear. So this is the main challenge for universities when it comes to their quality planning. The second challenge is that the expressed labor needs is not the same as the actual labor needs. And if you look at the JD's job description in the Civil Service Commission, you will find out that the way they've described the job requirements, the job titles, and the job descriptions, they are more related to discipline definitions. They are not related to employer definitions. And that's a big gap. There is a gap between being an industrial engineer or a mechanical engineer, graduating with a mechanical engineering degree, and being a professional engineer working out there. You have different roles, competency required, skills, knowledge, values, and so on and so forth. So the same people who are defining what the market needs are the same people who are in the academia. And they are defining it from the academic perspective, not from the market perspective. And you have another problem, which I think Dr. Khalid alluded to, is that our graduates are overqualified to the job being offered by the government. Yet the government are employing graduates, and the jobs they are offering, in many cases, they don't require people with bachelor degree. People with secondary degree can do it. And also, some people like to brag and talk about the economy of knowledge and stuff, and digital, artificial intelligence, data mining. Tell me, where is that? That's only you will find it in the banking sector and some of it in the oil and gas sector. That's it. So are we going to go into that, or are we just going to be reading about it out there and then planning for that? So is that what we should be planning for? Should we plan for our graduates to go and work in the oil sector? And we know well that the oil sector is overstaffed already. I mean, if I talked to one of the CEOs, he said to me, Tariq, I'm really worried. I said, what? And that's not today. That's like 5 years ago. And he said, we don't have a place. We have so many graduates coming out and we are hiring, and all of it is economically harmful. And all of you know that if you staff place beyond its requirement, you are not improving its productivity. You are reducing its productivity. Not only that, you are also harming its quality as well. So overstaffing is as worse and even more, in my opinion, bad or worse than understaffing. And also sometimes we even see people, thinking and talking about demands out there that are related to jobs that are already obsolete or going to be obsolete, and that is another challenge. So as you can see, the expressed labor needs are not the same as the actual labor needs. Now, what should we plan for? Should we plan for a government sector of 465,000 workers, of which 74% are Kuwaitis and the rest are non-Kuwaitis? Or should we do the right thing, which is that government sector is already overstaffed 4 times? If we're going to make, as our vision says, we want to make our government effective, How are you going to make your government effective with staffing 4 times its capacity? How are you going to do that? You should have something like this. Do you have the guts to do it? Don't tell me families. Don't tell me students. I want the decision maker, the leader who's going to make that decision and who has the will and the courage to tell the people that's where we should go to. Write it on papers and then say that we're going to do it. And you know, it's impossible to be done. Should we plan for a situation where we have 3.7% of Kuwaitis, 3.7% of the private sector workforce are Kuwaitis? Should we do that? Or should we believe what the country's plan and the vision, which tells us, no, we're going to go toward the private. We're going to go privatization. No, we've been saying this for ages. And the number hasn't been nudged. And I haven't seen yet anything that proves that it will be nudged. If we talk about Finland, it's true, it takes time, but they've already started and they are on the way. We haven't yet started. So we cannot compare ourselves and expect that after 10 years or 15 years, we're going to be another Finland. Big, big disappointment you're going to face. Because we haven't started yet. We haven't made the decision to change. When you make the decision to change and you make the correct decisions, then we can talk about Finland. But we cannot talk about Finland since we haven't yet made up our mind. And if you say that we're going to be ranked number 35 in Global Competitiveness Index, GCI, which is the mother of all indices, by the year 2035, I'm going to ask you, sir, what was the rank of Kuwait in GCI, Global Competitiveness Index, in 2010? Do you know what that rank is? That's when we started the planning. Do you want to joke? It was 35. So what we are shooting for in 2035 is what we were in 2010. So should we plan for a private sector that is what we have right now and what it does not seem that is going to be changing? Or should we plan for a private sector that we wish for? Should we plan for an economy that is 135 billion size? Or should we plan for an economy that is $1.6 trillion? And I would say, seeing what's happening in Kuwait and seeing where things are going, I encourage universities to plan for the likely. This is the likely. Recommendation when it comes to quality planning, labor market, you should plan for GCC, in my opinion. Vice President for External Relations, the University of Maryland, and that's in the US, they realize how important when it comes to quality to really and closely read the market, not from textbooks and from reports and stuff. No. You need someone who goes down on the ground. Kuwait is a small country. And I know from Kuwait University, some of the people don't know anything about the market. I mean, they read about, Kuwait is oil, but that nothing specific. Nothing about the manufacturing sector, what it is. Why is it difficult? So you need to have and I'm asking all universities, if you want to be really serious about quality, you need to properly plan for it by appointing a vice president for external relations. Now, when we come to the next part, which has to do with quality improvement, there are challenges. The first challenge is that the education regulators in Kuwait, they impede improvement. And I think Dr. Issam, he was very diplomatic, but I don't need to be diplomatic. I'm not in the education sector anymore. So I can tell you, they are impeding improvement. They don't allow you to do any e-learning. They don't allow you to do these things. They don't allow you to collaborate with a faculty out there. I remember 10 years ago, I wanted to collaborate with a guy from the University of Chicago, Champaign, to deliver a course. And we got into so many silly detail about who's going to record the grade and who's going to do that and who's going to do this. They are getting into the detail of the detail, and they're failing to see the big picture. They're failing to see where the country is going. They're failing to see that you need leadership, a leadership that is courageous to set the point, to set the vision, and move people forward. People don't move by themselves. Societies don't develop by themselves. Kuwaitis don't have a gene inside them that say they are lazy. They don't have a gene inside them to say that they are careless. Kuwaitis were conditioned that way. And whenever you have a bad performance by an institution, you don't fire the people in the institution. You replace who? You replace the leader of the institution. Because that guy is paid the most, and that guy set the tone, and that guy defined the culture. The other way around. You see, as a parent, I can control my home. I can provide my sons and daughters with best education. You cannot expect that every parent is going to do the same. Quality input, and I think everybody talked about that. This needs not to be talked about. I mean, I've taught at Kuwait University in the early 1990s in engineering, and when I left, it was 2017. And أين الثرى من الثريا? That's all what I need to know. I need to say high school performance of high schoolers, graduates, is not as good. I want to talk a little bit about Kuwait University and then a little bit about private universities, so I have a balanced challenges. Kuwait University, the problem with it is that the reward system is skewed. And people who know statistics and probability, they know what skewed means. Skewed meaning here that the reward system encourages people, faculty member who are in administration, who are in administrative position, and it does not give equal reward or comparable reward to people who work in research. Now come and talk to me. Tell me, which is more important to a university development and ranking? And that's why now you see people are fighting over positions and they are migrating from research. Reward system is skewed. Something has to be done about it. And we have another problem. I call it till death do us part tenure system. You see, if you are Kuwaiti and join Kuwait University, I am an outlier because no one leave that haven unless he decides himself to leave it, or he probably killed someone on campus or something. He committed a criminal act. Nobody gets dismissed for his weak performance. What kind of a tenure system is this? And you are talking about improvement. How can any leader of any institution improve if he cannot reward who he should reward, and he cannot punish who he should be punishing? What kind of a system is this? And then let me talk a little bit about the private university. The PUC does not check for excellence. I can tell you that. I don't need to get into detail. I'm a person who's into organizational excellence and quality, and the criteria that's been checked for are not for excellence. And also the other thing with the private universities in Kuwait, I think they are more like private government universities. Why? Because much of their demand comes from the government. And in a way, there is not much competition for people from the outside, other than doing some marketing, a little bit of it. But in general, the revenue is guaranteed. And when revenue is guaranteed, you don't have a true private atmosphere. Let me talk to you about when we want to improve, do we go for profit or non-for-profit? Many people say, oh, look at outside, look at Harvard, look at Cambridge, they are all private. No. They are private for profit. They are not private for profit. You see, the situation we have in Kuwait, you have the revenue comes in, expenses are subtracted, the profit goes to who? To the owners, to the shareholders. But when you have a non-for-profit like Harvard or like the AUB in Lebanon, the profit goes to where? To the institution itself, to make it more powerful, to give more money to the people who excel. So my point here is that why Kuwait is not trying a third system. We tried public, we tried for-profit. Why not try non-for-profit? Now, accreditation or ranking. I know now one of the universities is really hype about accreditation. I know accreditation very well. I know certification very well. I'm an ISO guy, a quality guy. I've been doing accreditation for hospitals. I've been accreditation for universities. I can tell you, accreditation is not like ranking. Accreditation meaning that you've achieved what is required for you to be a decent institution. What you need to think about is where are you in terms of other universities? Where are you ranked? And if you look at the Times Higher Education World University Ranking, look at this. None of our private universities are on the chart. Only Kuwait University is on the chart, and it's in its worst position ever, and that is in 2021. We are ranked 34 out of 72 Arab universities, and we are in a category from 1001 plus, meaning that the category that we no longer start to rank because it's too much, so we'll put them all in the last category. So what kind of improvement are we talking about? Isn't it time for us to be serious about improving? Or are we gonna continue talk about ranking? I mean, accreditation. I'm not against accreditation. Accreditation is good, but you need to move into ranking. Now, loose or real alliance. I know many of the private universities have alliances, and to me, these alliances need to be strengthened. They need to be real. So what I'm asking for is to have what I call students reciprocated learning. Now that we have the learning and stuff, and because of the COVID, this might be easier. So what I would like to have is I would like to have our students in the private universities, for example, in one of the university who has an alliance with Purdue, I want some of our students to take classes in Purdue. And I want students from Purdue to take classes in our local university. That's how you improve. You want to have people from top universities to be in your classes. So they will show you where you are. So they will motivate your own students. I would like to have faculties reciprocated teaching. I want the faculty from the local university to be teaching courses in the international university and vice versa. I would like to see a faculty research collaboration. And I would like to see a university's ranking collaboration between the local and international. Most of the international universities are highly ranked, so why not benefit from their experience and from their capability? So my final recommendation, in addition to the recommendations that I've made, time for experimenting with non-for-profit, aim for ranking, and insist on real alliances. I think with this, I end my presentation. I hope I didn't take much time, and thank you for your listening.
Professor Tariq, I'm actually speechless. I think you raised the bar so high. You were very honest. I got a lot of messages telling me, yes, he's saying the truth, he's saying the reality. You represent us. I don't know. I'm really speechless. I don't know what to comment and what to say, but what I wanted to tell you, I want to ask you, can you tell me the key? Do you think the key is in the leadership? Like many people would say, like in Lebanon is very, very similar to Kuwait. We always say we need Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, we need MBS, we need someone to make a radical change. I don't know, is it the leader? Because look, I see a lot of qualified people who can make a change, who have it. And, we have the policies, we have the planning, we have the minds. What's stopping us?
Rola, the problem is leadership big time. You see, I want you to go to any international organizational excellence standard. Go to EFQM. Go to the US system for organizational excellence. You will see at the heart of it, the main driver for improvement is leadership. You see, leaders set the tone. When an organization fails, we don't fire the employees, we fire the leader and bring in another leader. When a soccer team does not do well, we replace the captain. We don't replace the captain. He is the comes and change the people. You see, the problem is that here we don't have leadership. And I'm not for, you see, leadership are different. You see, I'm not a believer in a leadership by accident. I'm a believer in leadership that is sustainable. What we have around us when we have success stories, a lot of it is not sustainable because the leadership by accident, and I cannot go too much into details. I hope you know what I mean.
Yes. I'm not sure if we still have people from PUC, but we really hope that they're hearing us and that there's an honest intention from educators that we really need to see the best for Kuwait, and this cannot happen. And this is Dr. also Khalid said it. If there's no proper education, we can't go forward anywhere. So we really hope that everyone is hearing us, and best of luck, Professor Tariq. We hope we can have collaboration in attaining the better for the best sake of the education sector in Kuwait.
Wish you all the best, and thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the added value, definitely.
I'm gonna come back later, but now I have a Zoom call. Sorry, Dr. Osama, you want to say something?
No, just congratulations. لا فضحوك, as they said.
يعطيك العافية. شكرا دكتور. شكرا.
Thank you, Professor Tariq. Thank